Hi, I'm Charlotte Donlon. I am a writer, spiritual director, and host of our Faith Unplugged podcast and website. My first book is The Great Belonging, and this is a behind the scenes review of The Great Belonging, How Loneliness Leads Us to Each Other. And this video is for chapter 1. And I just watched the first video, and the quality is not that great. I should probably record it with my phone or with a fancy webcam or whatever, but I'm like getting by. I'm just trying to do things these days that are like things I want to do and do them as easily as I can. And right now that means recording using the go live option on YouTube and just saving it and rocking along. So if the quality isn't up to your standards, you don't have to watch these videos, or maybe the content will be exciting enough to make you forget about the quality not being excellent. Like I don't have like a studio with all the lights and like things, those like black things photographers use to like make shadows and everything. Like I don't have all that. I don't have a recording studio. This is my office, which I'm really grateful to have in this beautiful co-working space. I have my own office with my own door, but I don't have special things to record videos. So this is me. This is YouTube. It's live, and I'm going to talk about my book. So, The Great Belonging, How Loneliness Leads Us to Each Other. Chapter 1 is called The Opposite of Loneliness. So Marina Keegan was a writer who wrote an essay called The Opposite of Loneliness for the school newspaper at Yale. So she wrote this essay. A lot of people loved it. She got a contract soon after or before for a book of essays. So she was working on a book of essays, and then she died in a car wreck, which was awful and tragic. I read the book, I want to say soon after it came out, even though I can't remember what year it came out. But and the title of the book of essays is The Opposite of Loneliness. Anyway, I use a quote from that essay that was from Yale, the newspaper, and also in her book of essays. And I conclude that I think the opposite of loneliness is belonging. So this chapter is about how I view belonging and how what our primary belongings are, which I believe are the ways we belong to ourselves, to others, to God, and I would also add to the world. But there's not a section in this book about belonging to the world. There is a section about belonging to our places, and there's a section about belonging through art. So with the primary belongings are to ourselves, others, and God, there are all these other sorts of belongings that can deepen those primary belongings. And for me, the ways my primary belongings are deepened the most are through art and through my places. You may be able to come up with 3 or 4 things that deepen your belongings that aren't art or place. Maybe, maybe not. I mean, I think there are several different things that we could include. Like I, in no way claim to have explored the topic of loneliness and belonging like fully. I would hope that other people keep exploring it, and I want to keep exploring it. And even my current writing now has a lot to do with art and the way art helps us belong. And then actually my spiritual direction practice and the way I view faith and the way I talk to my clients about faith is how they're belonging to themselves, others, and God. And it just creates a pretty kind of simple framework while I'm doing spiritual direction. So I'm really glad that my first book like has some staying power with regard to the way, just I'm proud of the book, and, I don't regret anything in it, but it also kind of flows into my other work, my work as a spiritual director, my work with Art and Faith Unplugged, and my new books that are hopefully coming in the future. So That's what the first chapter does. And I'll also talk about, for me as a Christian, how all of my belongings are primarily rooted in the way I belong to God. Um, some people who aren't Christians have read this book and told me they loved it. And it's not all of those people were people who are friends with me. So I found that pretty interesting because there is, I mean, some chapters don't mention my faith at all, and some do. And then obviously the section on belonging to God, there's a lot more faith threads in that section. But it's just interesting to me because loneliness is just, it's a part of like the human condition. And I think we're all made to belong. Um, which is also like just a desire for all humans, I think. So even though this book is written from a Christian perspective, um, a lot of people have been able to connect with it, and people all along a faith spectrum, like people who are sure of what they believe, people who aren't sure of what they believe, people who are sure of what they don't believe, and like every place in between. So I've been really encouraged by the feedback and responses I've received from people who are Christians and agree with those parts of the book, and people who aren't Christians but still appreciate um, the book for what it is. So that's chapter 1, behind the scenes. Also, side note regarding Christian publishing and writing a book in the Christian space. My goal and hope is that my next books, or at least some of them, won't be published with Christian publishers because I do want to reach a broader audience and welcome readers that aren't just, Christians. I'll still write about my faith and have threads of faith. That's just who I am. It's what I do. But I do hope to write some books that aren't in that Christian space exclusively. So we'll see how that goes and if it happens. All right. Thanks for watching. Again, I'm Charlotte Donlon. You can find more about me and my writing and my work at charlottedonlon.com, writinglifespiritualdirection.com, and artandfaithunplugged.com. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Charlotte Donlon, although the best of what I make and create and offer will be found in my book and on my websites and in my podcasts. But you can find me on social media. I like social media, but that's not where you'll get the best of me. All right. Thanks for watching. It's supposed to be ending, but it's just like a black bar sitting there. I don't know what happened. It says it's still recording. Fabulous.